Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Advanced LoadView tutorial. In this guide, we will go through the entire setup, creation, execution, and reporting of a LoadView test. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started here. So the first thing that we want to do is create a script. We can create a script very easily utilizing our Every Step scripting tool. Once we have the Every Step scripting tool pulled up, we'll click on Record New Script. On the right-hand side here, we can select the browser we would like to use for the test. Then we'll enter in our starting URL. Once we have all that information, we can click Go. Now it will go ahead and delete all of our browsing history and cookies to ensure we start as a brand new user on the site. Once we have the starting URL pulled up, it's important to make sure that we highlight, right-click, and validate a keyword on the page to ensure that it is properly loaded. From there, I'm going to go into the login section and log in to the website. Click OK. Now the next page has come up. Once again, I want to validate that we are indeed loading everything on the page. Once we do that, let's go ahead and click on a couple more links here. Make sure that every single page we do some sort of validation to ensure that everything is loading properly on that page. Okay. Then I'll just go ahead and log out here, and then we can stop recording. Now that the recording stopped, we'll see on the right-hand side here that there were a couple network errors that we ran into on the site. So we can just select these URLs and ignore them during monitoring. That way they no longer affect the script. One thing to note when doing this type of filtering, these particular URLs here, I'm already aware that they are dynamic, which means that the last digits here are going to randomly populate every time we go to the site. In order to make sure this doesn't continue to be an issue, I will insert a wildcard here to simply block off this link from occurring. So we'll click on where it says deny, and we can go to the part in this link where it becomes dynamic. We can highlight everything behind it and we'll insert our wildcard character. Okay, once inserted, you'll see on the left-hand side that it changes under the network filter. For this particular load test, I also want to simulate several different users logging into the email-to-phone.net site. In order to do this, we need to take our username and password and change them into dynamic variables. To do this, we'll click where it says Type Text. On the right-hand side here, we'll click on the drop-down, and finally click where it says Convert to Context Parameter. From here, we need to name our context value. I will name this username _0 with a string value. And then we'll do the same thing for the password here. Click where it says Type Text. Click on the drop-down, Convert to Context Parameter. This one I'll rename password _1. And this one I'll actually keep as a hidden value. That way we can mask the password. That way it doesn't show up within the script or within the dotcom-monitor interface at all. Once we have all of these edits in place, we need to play the script back to ensure that there are no further errors so we can upload it to the dotcom-monitor cloud. The playback has completed successfully. No script errors, no network errors. So we can go ahead and save this device and upload it to the dotcom-monitor cloud. From here, we'll give it a name. We'll call it ETP for email to phone. And then on the right hand side here, we need to click on the drop down and make sure we select the LoadView stress test package. The great thing about these scripts is that we can also use them for ongoing monitoring once we're done with the load test. So if we have this particular scenario up and we want to continue to test it on a 15-minute, 5-minute basis, once we're done getting our load test results, we can do that very, very easily. But for now, we're going to continue with the LoadView test. So we'll select LoadView and click on Save. From here, it will automatically redirect us to the dotcom-monitor portal. Now, as you can see, the first thing that shows up is our context parameters. This shows up here to make sure that we have the correct naming convention and the correct values that we need for our default context parameters. Those look good, so I will click on Continue. From here, we'll give it another task name. I will stick with the E2P. Another thing we can do is create a script timeout. So, for example, if you have an SLA in place where the entire script needs to perform in less than, I don't know, let's say 15 seconds, we could put that in here, and we would generate an error if we failed to meet that criterion. For now, we'll leave that blank and click on Update. Okay. And the scenario itself already has a default name there, which works just great for me. Now, the next thing that we want to do here is to make sure that we upload our dynamic variable CSV. So if you recall back when we created the script, we had the two context variables for the username and the password. What we need to do then is create a CSV document that has that same naming convention for the username and password that we created, as well as a list of the different usernames and different passwords that we want to use within the load test. Once we have that in place, we can create our execution plan. The execution plan is very robust, and we can use this to create any type of scenario. For purposes of this demo, we'll start with 10 users, and then we'll raise by, let's say 5 users here, and we'll do that for 4 minutes. Once that's done, I want to hold this number for approximately, let's say for 5 minutes. Once we have those in place, we hit the green plus button here. That will add it to our scenario. Okay. And then the last thing I want to do is go ahead and lower it as well, and we'll lower it by 5 users for the last 5 minutes of the test. Okay, and what you can see here is we're left with a very average load curve where we start with about 10 users, handful of users hit the site, 30 users is our maximum here, and that holds for that 5 minutes. Now, this is very, very important when we talk about our dynamic variable CSV. One thing to note here is the maximum number of virtual users at one time is 30. So what we need to do is in this CSV document, we need to make sure that we have 30 rows. Okay, well, 31 including the naming convention here, but we need to have 30 users. Now, they don't all need to be unique. As you can see within mine, I have 15 unique users, and I have them running through it twice. Okay. So once we have that in place, we want to upload that to the dotcom-monitor portal. Okay, once it's uploaded, we'll see it here. Okay, and then the last thing that we need to do here is our zone configuration. Now, this is really great because we can truly mimic our user traffic by utilizing zone configurations. For example, if a bulk of our users come in from the Midwest here, we can actually say, hey, I want 50% of my users to come from the Midwest and the rest to come from the East and West Coast. The last thing that we want to do before we run the test is to make sure that we calibrate this script. So if we click on this calibrate button here, what it's actually going to do is test this particular script from our calibration server. What this is going to do is ensure that we have the proper number of virtual users per load injector server. This is very important because if we overload the load injector servers, we're going to see the performance suffer greatly, and if that does occur, we're not going to get proper results for our load test. And once it's done calibrating, it's going to give us our recommended number of virtual users per load injector server. What we want to see happen is whichever number generates here, and we'll see if it changes. It stays at 10, which is great. We want to have that number put over here in the actual number of virtual users per load injector. Now this is adjustable, however I would recommend not doing that, as these are our recommended settings. Okay. And now what we'll see here is kind of an overview of the test on the bottom. The total duration of the test is going to run for 14 minutes. We'll have a maximum of simultaneous users of 30, and then the estimated number of sessions or hits on the website is going to be 676. So roughly 700 attempts at going through this script will occur during that 14-minute duration. Now, obviously, if you have any questions regarding users, sessions, and duration, make sure you reach out to your dotcom-monitor representative who can help you come up with the perfect execution plan to meet your requirements. From here, we will click on Run Test. And this is going to give us our summary of pretty much everything we just set up before, including a breakdown of the virtual user distribution and the price to run the test, so that it all kind of makes sense here. This is the price for the load injector servers. This is the price for the virtual users, and this is what we'll see as the total. Now make sure that you do enter in a valid notification email. It will take us a little bit of time to spin up the load injector servers on the cloud. While we're doing that, it may take 10 minutes, and in some cases up to an hour, depending upon the size of your test. Once we do that, we'll shoot over a notification email to you that's going to let you know that your test is ready, and you will be able to then log in and watch it in real time, which I will actually show you folks in the second part of this video. For now, we're going to let these servers spin up, and I will be back in a few moments for part 2 of our LoadView Advanced Guide.